Hello, I'm Peggy Hattendorf, and I'd like to read some excerpts from the first chapter of my book, Son of My Father, A Family Dynasty. The gleaming aircraft wing glistened in the late morning sunshine as she gazed out the window. Father will be the last to arrive, making his usual theatrical entrance, thought Christiane Lynn Barrington, seated inside the plane. Glancing out the window, she caught a glimpse of Jonathan, with his unquestionable aura of perfection, engaged in a telephone conversation and in no hurry to finish and join the others on board the plane. Jonathan Robert Barrington was one of the wealthiest and most egocentric men in the world. He began proceeding up the ramp to the aircraft. Jonathan mumbled greetings to James Langston, his chief operations officer, and Marshall Weston, the chief financial officer. Loosening his tie, Jonathan poured a scotch and invited the men to join him. Ensconced on the sofa in the corner, Jonathan's daughter Christiana sipped sparkling water. Every bit the elegant lady, she sat, legs crossed, as her gray-green eyes met her father's steely blues as he moved down the aisle to his seat on the plane. As the aircraft lifted off from Los Angeles, heading for the clouds, the celebration began. This team had completed a stunning but challenging major acquisition. Praise and triumph centered on Christiana, who had orchestrated the entire transaction. No easy feat in an industry dominated by men. Brilliant, crowed Jonathan of his daughter's performance. Barrington Holdings International now owned the largest diamond, gold, iron ore, and phosphate mining companies, distribution entities, and retail jewelry stores in the world. I should be ecstatic, thought Christiana. However, she was reflecting on another event of the day, the end of her marriage to Michael Trent. Her divorce was final. The accomplished businesswoman and overachiever had failed miserably in her personal life, and her empty heart told the story. As her memories drifted back to Michael, she reviewed her underachievement as both a wife and mother. Will I ever have it all again, she wondered. If I had a second chance, could I successfully balance every aspect of my life? She didn't know the answer. Wishing not to place a damper on the festivities, she went to the back of the plane. It was time for introspection, not celebration. Christiana and Michael had a long, involved, complicated, and seismic relationship during their 10-year marriage. Michael's interests focused exclusively on the entertainment industry. Maybe she should have realized their relationship was doomed from the start, since she never felt comfortable with the Hollywood glitz, but that was really not the issue. With pervasive sadness, she knew the issue was and always would be her father and the prepackaged life he had created, one she had accepted or at least resigned herself to lead. Michael found Hollywood intoxicating with contacts, promise, and allure. Christiana was never a fan of Los Angeles, as she was East Coast born and bred, and her roots, her thoughts, as well as her style bespoke New York and Connecticut. With their careers moving at Mach speed, so was the unraveling of their relationship. Christiana prayed Michael would return to New York. Michael, however, embraced his new life and all LA had to offer. He was now in his element, and she was so far out of hers, it frightened her. Michael's compelling arguments urging her to come and live with him fell on deaf ears, and he finally realized she was married to Barrington, and ultimately her father called the shots. Persistent fighting forced Michael to ask her to decide between her marriage and Barrington. Sadly, as if writing the final act to one of his plays, he told her he knew the ending. Marriage and family were overshadowed by Christiana's career. Staring out the cabin window into the blackness of the night, she was haunted by the departing shot Michael made when he left. No man will ever be able to compete with your father. Sadly, she knew it might be true. His input was easy to recognize, and she felt his presence even before he spoke. Come, this is your victory. You can rest later. You have just added to the Barrington fortune, said her father in an appreciative tone. He took her by the arm and escorted her back to the festivities. Life took a hard landing. Thank you for taking the time to listen to the excerpts.